Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to The Real Horror Show. I'm your host, Samantha, joined as always by the stormy skies on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, this is very off brand for us to be active on the weekends.
I know.
And here we are.
I was supposed to go grocery shopping until I remembered we moved recording till noon, so David's out doing the shopping.
Oh, that's nice of them. Yeah, I'm
He
sorry.
usually does the shopping because I don't like
Yeah,
grocery stores.
I know. I agree. I don't like them either.
But we might be doing a picnic later, so I told him exact sandwich ingredients to get and maybe some
Sweet.
cheeses, but he's not a cheese person, so
Oh,
we'll
that
see what
sucks.
happens.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, hopefully you bring some type of cheese.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So charcuterie boards are just a nightmare for him because
It's
they're
mostly
all
cheese.
cheeses and meatses.
Some crackers too, if you want.
Yeah, but we got a really cute picnic basket for the wedding, and I would like to use
Uh,
it.
Yes, I love when I see picnic baskets on the wedding registries. They're so cool.
Yeah,
So awesome. That sounds so cute. I'm going
yeah.
later to my birthday dinner.
Ooh,
So
that's right. Your birthday is now-ish?
Monday.
Monday.
It's now-ish. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it too. So it'll be Monday, which is wild.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I still feel like mentally I'm still feeling like I'm in my like late 20s, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be 31, so it's whenever that happens I'm like, "Oh, like it doesn't like affect me. I'm not like sitting here like in a crisis like I'm getting so old like I'm feeling good about like being this age, like being in my 30s is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Finally have everything. I have it all together, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
finally there.
Yeah. I kind of go back and
Yeah,
forth with how I feel about being 30 now.
yeah.
Some days I don't feel accomplished at all because my career has like my
Mm,
paying job hasn't taken off. But
good.
David reminds me that I've had a decent amount of success as a writer, oddly
Yes, you
enough.
have.
Like I keep forgetting that I did write a movie, even if I'm not
Yes,
happy about the existence of that movie. It's
right.
still a thing I did, and it's a thing I can be not happy about.
Of course. Yeah, that
So,
that happens. Yeah.
but
Who was
yeah,
really upset about the movie? Was it Stephen King with The Shining?
Stephen King for the longest time didn't like any of his film adaptations. I think he liked Carrie,
Uh-huh.
but he and Kubrick did not see eye to eye on the Shining adaptation.
Yeah.
He described it as a shiny Cadillac without an engine, which I
Yeah.
have the same sentiment towards my movie.
Well, there you go. So you're like a
Yeah,
Stephen King.
I'm in good company,
You
and
are.
maybe I should reread on writing. Maybe that's a good thing
Yeah.
for all writers who are not
Mm-hmm.
where they want to be in their
Right.
30s to reread. Because
Yeah.
how fucking old was Stephen King when he finally got Carrie picked up? Like he was,
Older. He wasn't a kid. He wasn't young like all the other young writers that we're kind of surrounded by. I'm not sure the age. But he tried and failed and tried and failed, I think, so
Mhm.
many times. But listen, whenever you get older and you're kind of like have everything together and you're not busy with like school and work and also being a caregiver to like your parents or whatever, you can finally have that time when you're a little bit older to like put
Mhm.
100% into your writing or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah,
So like don't freak out that like you're not a 21-year-old like I don't know like prodigy, you know, of
yeah,
whatever you like to do, because that's what we keep seeing though, and it sucks because that's all we're shown on like social media and
yeah.
stuff, and
No,
it like brings us down, you know what I mean?
I'm in a women's only like writer and editor group on Facebook, and
Yeah.
this one girl, I know she was being, I don't know, facetious, but it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I want to find her and punch her in the face.
Yeah, dude.
She posted, "I just published my first novel at 25. Did I start too late?"
Oh
And I
my
just wanted to
god,
go
stop.
find her and punch her.
Yeah, the flight kite,
It's
yeah,
like one, there's no
exactly.
such thing as starting too late, and
No.
I think we're all kind of unpacking this weird ageism
Yeah.
that we grew up with. David and I constantly talk about how by the
Yeah.
time his parents were our age, they had both him and his older brother
Yeah.
already.
That's very similar to Luke's parents. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
It's weird. Stephen King was
It's
26 when Carrie was published, and I do remember that
26. Yeah.
his family was like dirt broke, and they had
Oh yeah.
at least one of their kids
Yeah.
already.
Okay.
So, I mean, I do think adulthood started earlier for the previous generations, so that's why
Yeah.
probably millennials and Gen Z and soon Gen Alpha feel like they're so behind by the time they get to their 30s.
Yeah, but I also feel like we mature. I like our generation. Tell me if you feel this way. Like we matured quicker.
I
Do you feel that way? Like we wanted to be adults so much sooner.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
think it's just with what we kind of grew up with. You know, when we
yeah,
were 9 years old, we saw
hmm
9/11 happen in real time.
yeah,
And from there, things just never got better. And
right.
compared to like the boomer generation and even Gen X,
Yeah,
they didn't grow up with the internet where bad things can continually happen.
yeah, yeah,
And like I think that's a positive of the internet is that we're
right.
exposed to more of the injustices of the world, but it's also
Yeah,
negative because we're just constantly bombarded with it.
yeah, absolutely. I can agree. That it's good to have that, but also like it takes you away from like that ignorance a little bit. That you're like kind of in a blissful state. You're in a
Yeah.
bubble, and like you're doing good for yourself, but that's like just your personal space.
Yeah.
And you have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway,
Yeah.
speaking of,
Anyway, happy birthday.
thank
But
you.
speaking of
Speaking
getting
of
older,
crises, yeah.
you know,
Yeah, getting
aging's all
older.
well and good unless you
Unless you're an
live near a
adult.
cornfield.
Yeah, you're an adult that lives near a cornfield in a rural part of like the Midwest, then watch
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Which happens to be what we're talking about today.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Children of the Corn is a 2020 American supernatural slasher film written and directed by Kurt Wimmer. It stars Elena Camporis, Kate Moyer, Callan Mulvey, and Bruce Spence. The film is the third adaptation of Stephen King's short story, Children of the Corn, and the 11th installment in the Children of the Corn series. It is the first film based on King's story to be theatrically released since Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice in 1992.
Wait, so you're saying the original one wasn't theatrically released?
The original one was.
Oh, okay.
The first
Oh,
and second would have been theatrically released, but then
okay.
there's, like this says, 11 installments, and I've watched a
Dang.
lot of them,
Oh, you
and they're
have?
all,
Okay.
yeah, because they all used to be on Netflix. So in college, I just watched all of them. So I've
Sweet.
seen them all except for the more recent ones that came out in 2011 and 2018, I want to say is the one. Oh, wait, no. Yeah,
Yeah,
2018
I
was the
feel
last one to
like,
come out.
yeah, is that okay? So 12 in the Core in 2018. I feel like I knew that there was a remake that had happened right
Yes.
before this one. Would it be the
Yeah.
2018 version? Children.
No, so Children,
Yeah.
the last remake was in 2009 and it was a direct to TV remake. I want to say, I
Oh,
think it was a sci-fi original when that came out. I never watched that.
yeah.
Um,
Damn, there's a lot then. I'll have to look up the
there's
list.
so many. So this is the third like actual adaptation take on the short story that's not a sequel.
Ah,
Because you have, Children of the Corn 2, Children of the Corn 3, Children of the Corn 4,
dang.
Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Return.
I see that right over there.
Yeah.
Isaac. Wow, he's
Um,
scary. Genesis in 2011. Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror, 1998. Yeah, there's like just a lot of sequels. They
yeah.
didn't have to do all that. But that's
They
okay, I
didn't
figured.
because
They did.
watching this, I've come to accept that I don't think a good adaptation of Children of the Corn is possible. I've
Your volume.
never, I meant to read the short story, and I guess I had the chance to read the short story, but
Yeah,
I didn't because
that's okay.
I've
That's
been reading more plays by my peers lately, trying to get
that's
more
great.
into writing recommendations on New Play Exchange.
Nice.
Networking is important for the career of a writer.
It is, yeah.
um, so I didn't, but
Yeah, that's all right.
this movie wasn't good, but it was bad in a good way,
We
in
know
my
all we
opinion.
need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this movie. This movie was wild,
Yeah.
but it was, I agree, like I can't, it like wasn't good, but it was there and I couldn't stop watching it, but it was
I
not good.
I agree. And I don't know. I guess if the best adaptation is the 1984 original, that's all we can hope to have. But even that doesn't capture, like, I'm just skimming through the synopsis of the short story on Wikipedia. It doesn't
Yeah.
capture the eeriness and the horror of the short story.
Right. We'll have to read the short story, like for real, and see.
Yeah, we're almost done with the Vampire Diaries universe, so we could do a
Do a little
real mini
quick.
show on the
Yeah,
short
on the
story.
story. That'd be
Uh,
awesome.
but yeah,
Yeah.
um, wasn't great. But I had moments of pure enjoyment nonetheless.
Yeah. There were some good moments, but like in all, and like it's one of those movies where it's not good because it felt like a 2.5 hour movie to me,
Hmm.
and it was 90 minutes, and I was like, damn. So it's kind of, that's for me, that's like my own personal telltale sign that like this isn't good because it's taken too long when
Yeah,
it's actually in reality a very short movie.
yeah. So I guess let's talk about acting, starting with Eden, who replaces our Isaac in this
uh,
adaptation.
uh,
Because it's 2020 when this movie was made. Girls can be evil too.
yes, that was I did enjoy the take that it was a girl.
Yeah.
It's a little
I
different.
I did think she was good. However, her evil parts didn't feel sinister to me. They felt like sassy Disney child star.
Yeah, she felt to me like either what you said, like too sassy and like she's misbehaving,
Hmm.
or like just like very emotionless and stale.
Yeah. There was an unevenness to it, and that kind of falls on the director to guide her in how she should be portraying this character. And I'm not expecting an Isaac replica. Like, Isaac is one of the most iconic
Yes, he
horror
is.
villains
Yeah,
of all time. So
definitely.
it's going to be so hard to recapture that energy he brought to the movie. And I think she had the potential to do it. I just don't know if the director was the right person to lead her in that direction.
Yes.
Like, I see the
Yeah.
talent there. She wasn't terrible by any means. She was just too sassy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the Isaac character isn't supposed to be sassy. They're supposed to be
Like
sinister and creepy.
scary. Yeah, like a creepy kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like mean.
Yeah,
They're just like too mean with the
she had the
bully.
energy of the cool kid on a kids show.
Yeah. That's exactly the energy. And like she like did well, in the movie because she's so young. But you're right, she needed to have more direction to if they wanted her to act like creepy.
Hmm.
Creep you out.
Yeah.
But she didn't creep me out, she just made me mad and annoyed.
Hmm.
Get her out of my face. Look at this little girl in my face.
And the other prominent role was Bo, the, I guess, mayor's daughter.
Is he the mayor? I'm like, who is this guy?
I think he was the mayor. He was somebody important.
Yeah, he did a thing. He spoke in front of people, so
He was
therefore he's
either the mayor
important.
or the community comptroller. I don't know what a comptroller is, but I hear it occasionally.
Nice. Yeah, that's probably what he was.
Yeah, he was she was there. She was fine. I vaguely recall her whole, like, opening scene. She got into medical school or something. She got into a big city school.
She was going for bioengineering or something like
Okay.
that. So like big time stuff. Very
Yeah.
smart.
Which, like I said, we're getting older. She didn't seem like the right age to be going off to college. She felt younger. Maybe that was just her hairstyle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, her hair was very cute. But yeah, she seemed very young to be like a senior.
Yeah. And then her friend, I thought he was not a very good actor.
The weed guy with the
Him,
hoodie.
yeah, the hoodie guy, and then the guy she was telling about getting into college, in the striped shirt. He wasn't very good.
Her brother.
Was that supposed to be her brother?
Yeah, that was her brother, her sibling, the skinny boy with
Oh,
like who's
yeah.
tall. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
her
I
brother.
didn't think that was her brother. Okay, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
he
live in the
wasn't.
same house.
Yeah. Okay.
He's easily
Well,
missed. Easily missed. It's
was
okay.
I didn't think he was great.
Not important. He was totally forgettable. Forgot he was even there.
And then the adults are there, and
Yeah, they don't matter.
there
They're
was
just mean.
it's hard for me to consider this an adaptation of the short story because it's more like almost a prequel to the short story because in the short story and the original movie, by the time we do see the slaughter of the adults, but it's just setting up what happens next, which is outsiders enter the town and they become the enemy. They become the new sacrifices. So because this movie it follows what happened before we got to the point of Outlander. Uh
Yeah, heretic. Yeah, all that.
that whole segment. So it's hard for me to consider this a true adaptation. It's more of a kind of prequel ish.
I thought that too. That's what I was telling Luke when he watched a little bit of it, and I was like, "Listen, what's happening here is not actually what happens in the original. It's a little bit different. It's almost like what happens before the town gets like overtaken for like the first time."
Yeah. And in that sense, it didn't feel as scary as the original because in the original, there's just this ominous vibe throughout the town.
Yes. Yeah,
because
definitely.
something is wrong and you, the viewer, know, but they don't know. And we're watching the slaughter of the adults happen in real time. But also, it was kind of underwhelming, the genocide of the adults.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of upsetting because it was so in your face and the way they chose to do stuff, but the adults didn't really like try to like fight or save themselves.
That's what I thought too.
I was like,
all
what are
right,
you guys doing?
let's get into this story.
Yeah, let's do it.
So the story follows Eden and Bo, two different girls in this town. One's older, one's like 9 years old. And they basically sorry. Oh, I'm in
it's okay.
Wrong summary.
The beginning is a little weird, and it kind of shows how Eden is kind of adopted by like the pastor.
Yes. So her brother kills her parents, I think.
Yeah, and then like the town kills all the kids, but why they do that? Like, I don't know. I didn't understand the beginning all that much with the killing the kids with the gas.
Maybe it was,
unless it was an accident.
Maybe they knew about like he who walks behind the stalks.
Yeah, he walks behind the rows. Yeah,
behind the rows.
Behind the stalks would be
sorry.
cool
Behind the stalks rhymes.
It does rhyme actually, so that's better. They didn't even say rose in the movie. They just said he who walks. I'm like, okay, but like, what about the rose?
And we're gonna get to he who walks because
it's actually a character.
Fucking stupid.
Crazy, I know. That was stupid. Anyway,
so I'm guessing what we're supposed to pick up on as the audience is those kids had been affected by he who walks and the adults knew about it. So they killed them before they could cause more damage.
That makes sense. That does. Yeah.
To me, that makes sense. So their crops have been failing. And this is even with the help of things like GMOs and herbicides, which I thought was so funny. Like, oh no, not GMOs.
Right. Yeah, it was very modern, but like they like use like bad stuff for their soil or whatever, and it messed everything up, I guess, and it couldn't grow corn and whatever.
So the adult, this was the funniest scene. I love the scene. I need to show the scene to David. It is so funny. The town meeting where they decide that they're going to take a government subsidy to grow what the government wants them to grow since the corn is no longer working out. The adults vote to do this and destroy all the corn. And then the kids are like, well, we're citizens too, and we deserve a vote. And Hoodie Kid's dad makes a big deal. Kids can't vote. And then everybody laughs at them. And it felt like something from a sketch comedy show.
Doesn't it? I was like, wow, this is really intense.
It was so funny.
The laughing was going on for so long. And like I thought that like they would make the girl cry, but she didn't. She was just like straight up emotionless, and then they
Yeah.
just left, and I was like, okay. And the guy's like, stop being so mean. They're just kids. And they're like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna go home and like punch my son. Remember that guy was like, wait till I get home. Wait till I get
Yeah.
with these
No,
people.
that scene was so funny.
It was.
Like, I think I get the idea behind it. They're setting up like this disgruntlement between the children and the adults. But God, it was a comedy sketch. It was so funny.
But that can't be, and they make that as if like that's like the one big part that makes all the kids like want to kill the adults is because they got laughed at. It's like, dude, no. The corn, like it's not like you're not going to grow anything at all. Like chill it. There's nothing to do. Like you can't figure it out. You're not old enough to get it yet. Like you don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get why the kids are so upset about. I
the
mean,
corn.
because only Eden is being affected.
Yeah.
By
the corn monster.
Yes, she's the only one being affected by He Who Walks at this point.
Yes.
To our knowledge.
Yeah.
Sorry, David was asking. He can't find focaccia bread, so he's asking me what to get instead.
What's a good alternative to that, Sam?
I think Italian would be good.
That would be good because it's a hefty white, like a thick white bread. So that's good.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. Because there's this sandwich that my aunt has always made for like an appetizer on Christmas Eve when we do appetizers for dinner.
Yeah.
It's like a focaccia bread with roast beef, ham, salami, tomato, onion, and it's delicious. And I wanted to make that for a picnic.
Even like sourdough would be kind of good too.
Yeah.
It's got the yeasty, but whatever you choose, it sounds delicious. Delish. But, it's not delicious. Rotten corn.
Exactly. Rotten corn is disgusting. So the kids are really upset about this for some reason. I don't know why. Like they're way upset. I'm just guessing they were in Iowa and the children know nothing other than the corn.
Yeah, Nebraska, but same difference, right?
Yeah,
looks like Iowa to me, bro.
and you're right, because the kids don't understand like why the adults are doing this.
Yeah, they're like, oh, why would you do that? It's like
if they don't do this, the town fails and there's no more town anymore.
No economy. So like, they're like, well, we have to like fix the soil, and it's like, no, dude, like we just have to do something now.
Decades to heal.
I know. Like, why doesn't she get that? I thought she was going to school for like microbiology. Doesn't she like know some stuff? Like she has acting dumb.
Yeah. So the older teenagers decide to hold a mock trial to hold the adults accountable for what, I don't know, they're kids. Like,
dude, I thought that was a stupid idea, dude.
Like, this is the most believable part of the movie is the kids coming up with some harebrained scheme to make the adults feel bad for not listening to them.
No one's gonna roll up at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
If they gotta work the fields.
Yeah, and for some reason the teenagers decide they need the help of a 9-year-old to
get all the townspeople together and to like go escort like a random person in at 10 o'clock at night, which like literally made no sense to me why it would be so late at night.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
And so Eden takes this a step too far and begins slaughtering the adults and setting things in the town on fire. The first adult we see actually get it is the hoodie kid's dad.
Yeah, because he like beats on him and stuff.
So he gets hanged.
That was kind of fucked up, Sam.
It was.
I thought they were going to save him, but they made him go too high, but his neck broke. And I was like, okay, thank goodness that happened, because I can't stand to watch anyone drown or suffocate. It really gets to me.
And so they're escorted to the prison where somehow these children have wrangled up the rest of the adults in a prison cell. And that was my biggest question in my notes is how did they convince all of the town adults? Dude. How did these children overpower all the adults in the town?
There was like 20 men in there.
Yeah.
Work the fields, grown-ass men. How?
Yeah. Like, it doesn't make sense. In the original, when we're watching the genocide happen, it was all sneak attacks orchestrated by the teenagers, not the children themselves.
Right.
Like, older teenagers, not quite 18, because in the short story, it ends with the 18-year-olds going to the fields to sacrifice themselves to he who walks.
Yes.
I can't remember if that happens in the movie or not, but
Yeah.
in theory,
yeah.
it's the older kids that who lead the rebellion against the adults under the guidance of Isaac. Whereas in this one, it's the younger children that seem to be leading the rebellion.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of how I remember it too. And then there's like Malachi who's like kind of like going rogue a little bit, but I kind of forget. I didn't watch it again.
Yeah. It's been years. I'm just going off vague memories.
Yeah, that's about right.
But it was the older kids who instigated the attacks on the adults, and it was more of a surprise attack. So like sneaking up and cutting their throats and while they're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just get in this prison cell and we're gonna gas you.
Yeah, that was and it's like half of them are in the prison cell, the other half are like somewhere else. It's very strange how they're all like divvied up.
Yeah.
And it's before that we find out that there's people in or maybe the next morning, all the people that get gassed are like put into a big mass grave, which was dug the day before or like earlier that day.
Yeah.
By
and
like
these 9-year-olds just
kids.
know how to use the backhoes.
The equipment. Like the equipment and stuff, like the excavator, the big excavators and things like that. But I guess like that though makes sense a little bit if they're like children of farmers, then they might like know how to do that a little bit. But there was only like a couple. Every scene there was like more kids and less kids and more. So I really don't know how many kids there really were to like overpower all these adults. But yeah, they got put in the big mass grave, and then they got freaking buried alive. Nobody tried to climb out. Like they kind of did a little bit.
They kind of did, but not very well.
They could have like tried to figure out a plan while they were standing there staring at the kid getting ready to go into the excavator or like the backhoe or whatever.
You're telling me a group of adults didn't think once to lift each other out of the holes?
Yeah, like there were women in there that could have did that, but they're like, let's just stand here and be like shocked for like at least a couple minutes. It really like took a while to get the dirt in.
Yeah, it took a good minute, and they were just like, oh yeah.
And then they just nobody tried to and like also Bo didn't try to dig her mother out, and she was literally on the surface of the dirt.
Oh yeah, her mother could have been kind of alive.
They could have dug themselves out. I feel like when you're in that situation, you probably try to like have a fight or flight response, or you're trying to like dig out like a lot, like in Kill Bill when you can like dig up. Not that would really happen, but like you're trying to save yourself, so you don't just like give up. They'll just give up. Sorry.
Yeah,
it was kind of fucked up, but I was like, they really did nothing to try to save themselves, man.
No,
they could have did anything, and they did zero. So dang.
Oh yeah, and before the mass grave scene, hoodie guy, Bo's friend, died because his face got ripped off by a baseball bat.
Oh yeah, he got hit so hard by the baseball bat, his head was crushed, and I was like, dang, that must have been a really strong kid.
That's what I thought too, because we see the baseball bat hit him from under the chin, and then when he lands, half his face has been peeled away. I'm like, that doesn't work like that.
No, because that's a composite bat. So those weigh less. If it was a wooden bat, it might make a little bit more sense to have like some fucked upness, but like that was like a 5-pound bat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was a children's bat because it needs to be light enough for the children to swing it.
It might as well have been one of those plastic ones for like wiffle ball.
Like I think my baseball bat from when I did softball is 7 or 8 pounds, and that's really light. Like
if you get hit in the head, you can get a concussion, but you won't be dead like that and be like disfigured. But it was cool gore. I was like, dang.
I was wondering if we would get any, because
it was weird.
I have noticed an interesting trend in horror movies where they're not shying away from killing kids anymore.
Yes.
Even in a PG-13 horror movie like A Quiet Place, which opens with the youngest son being killed and mauled. And I do, since horror reflects current trends in society, I wonder if that no longer being shy about killing kids is, you know, kind of this broken illusion that kids are safe when
Yeah,
they're
even in
around adults.
Hereditary,
Hmm.
yeah, that
Hmm.
shoot your head came off. But
Because,
yeah,
you know, kids aren't even safe at school anymore. So why are we pretending
yeah,
like Michael Myers wouldn't kill a kid?
right. Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like in Halloween Ends, that was
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Oh, did you
But
watch Halloween Ends?
I did.
What'd you think?
I watched it. Yeah. I thought it was thought it was just okay.
Just okay.
Yeah, it was just okay. It was good. But that kid who was trying to be Michael Myers was like too weird.
So I liked Halloween Ends a lot. I
Yeah,
know it's a
that
very
was sweet.
divisive
Yeah,
Halloween
yeah.
movie to especially end this trilogy on. I think it's smart because David Gordon Green successfully remade the first three Halloween movies. If you really think about it, like
Mhm.
the third one in the original like Halloween, it wasn't even a trilogy because John Carpenter didn't want it to be a trilogy. But the third movie was completely different from the first two. And we get that again with this third movie. However, I do wish they had set up
Yeah.
Corey from the
Mhm.
beginning,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
even just as a background character we see in like the high school scenes getting bullied and being awkward, and then instead of the kid dying at the beginning of the third one, it happens
Mhm.
at the end of the second one, because it does technically happen at the end of the second one timeline
Right.
wise. So
Yes.
if we just got that and then we get him becoming the killer, I think that would have been a bit better payoff,
Mhm.
and
I
maybe people would be
agree.
less mad about it.
I agree
But
with that too. Yeah, definitely. That would have been a little bit more smooth of a transition.
mhm.
But yeah, I watched it. It was still good. I'm sorry we didn't talk about it. I thought we may
No,
have.
no, it's
Forgot.
fine.
I don't know why
I
I
liked
even
seeing
saw it.
Michael Myers go through the meat grinder.
Yeah, yeah, I did see that. Is he really
Just
dead?
he went through a meat grinder.
But is he really gone? We can't know, dude. They'll never stop. But anyway, you know who didn't go through the meat grinder?
Eden.
Eat it. That's right, but she should have because she was being so mean.
Oh, anyway,
For real.
so
Uh,
after the adults are buried alive, Bo tells her two girlfriends who've just been there in the background
literally
to go get help.
go get help because they didn't do that yet.
And so they go off and hopefully try and get help. They
Yeah.
go back to the prison where a few of the men are still alive, including Bo's dad and the preacher. I think it's heavily implied in the scene that the preacher's been molesting Eden.
Yes, they could have
Because
been a little bit more clear about that, but I kind
yeah,
of picked up on that vibe. Yeah, I figured
yeah.
that.
So
Huh.
she says he didn't sin against the corn, but he has sinned. So she and the other children rip out his eyeballs, and I swear to God, I thought it was his testicles when she held them up, but it was his eyeballs.
His eyeballs.
Just the way she was holding them looked like testicles, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
good
Oh,
God!"
damn.
Oh no,
Yeah,
wait, it
it's
was
like
just his eyes. So that's fine.
just his eyes. It's right up in the top of the
Yeah.
body.
That's fine.
And then he is killed after
Yeah.
that. And then after that, or they gaslight
Bo
him,
offers
or
to lead the remaining men out to the corn to
yeah,
sacrifice them, and she's
yes.
very loudly whispering to her dad, "Go get help,
She's
Dad."
like, Dad, go get help now. Just go with it.
There's no way in her head she thinks that Eden is buying any of this. Like, she's so not subtle with her plans to.
Yeah, she's not great at doing that, being
She's
discreet.
no, she's not good at it at all.
No, not good
So
at it.
Eden blatantly probably hears her say to her
Yes.
dad to go to the corn, and this is your only chance to escape. Spoilers, he does not escape. She finds him later killed by corn.
Yeah, by the corn stalks. Rest in peace, freaky looking dad.
Yeah. Um,
But he was fine.
so um some other stuff happens after that. The children have kidnapped like a senator or whoever was in charge of this corn subsidy deal.
Yeah.
Subsidy
Yeah.
deal. I don't think we saw her before this, so I was confused about who it was.
Wait, no, she's like an out of town journalist.
Oh,
who
was
is
she?
coming. Yeah, because she like Bo was like, I DM'd this journalist so she can come and do a big story about how we're taking the subsidy so we could try to save the town. She's trying to like give. She said they were
Okay.
doing bad publicity to save them. So it was
Okay.
just a
All right.
girl who rolled up at 10 o'clock at night to like do the news.
Yeah, a random character because we need more adults to kill.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
so Eden's like, we can't just kill her in the courthouse. We need to take her to the corn. And not Eden, Bo. And Bo
Yeah,
tries to take her out, and she's like, no, we have to take her directly to
to
them.
the
So
monster. Yeah,
yeah, so they carry her out to the corn.
and they go to the
Bo,
barn.
yeah, Bo gets knocked unconscious. When she wakes up, she sees that her two friends have been brutally murdered.
At the
Um,
top of the
yeah,
barn
yeah,
ceiling.
they're hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
She tells Eden, he who walks doesn't exist. Eden
And
gets
she's like, yes,
mad.
he does. Yeah, Eden's just always mad the whole time. Just
Yeah.
pissed off constantly.
So Bo somehow escapes. And then we find out he who walks Israel in the stupidest thing I have ever fucking seen in a Stephen King movie since the
Yeah.
film adaptation of the Jabberwockies, whatever the fuck they were.
Oh, wait. No, I know what you're trying to say. I know what that is, but it's not the Jabberwocky.
No, it's the things that like eat universes, and they did a TV movie about them, and it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I know what they're called. They're called the something. Anyway, keep going. I'll think.
So it's this horrible CGI corn monster man.
Yeah, it's a corn monster.
And it's just sometimes the worst way to ruin like the vibes and tone of a horror movie is to actually show us the monster.
To show us them. I was hoping they wouldn't do it
No.
because they did a cool thing in the beginning where they showed like the corn move a little bit in the shape of like like a head or, and I was like, okay, that's fine. But then they went for it. They did it and they showed us the monster, his whole body.
It was like a transformer made of corn stalks.
That's a really good way to describe it because that is how it looked. It was just like a big robot body, but instead of gears and metal, it was corn stalk, greens, green leaves.
Granted, I haven't watched all 11 Children of the Corn movies. There have been a couple releases since I stopped watching Children of the Corn. But in the original, we never saw He Who Walks. It was always kind of a ghostly presence. And the representation of He Who Walks moving through the corn was the corn moving or the camera through its perspective. So we never actually saw what He Who Walks is. And just, I wish we never did.
Yeah, and now unfortunately I know what he looks like, and so it's like I've seen him, and that sucks for me because now I'll never forget that it's just a corn monster.
Yeah, a very flammable corn monster.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say flamboyant.
I mean, he could be. He has some vibes.
Yeah, he has some vibes.
Like I can tell that he works on his body.
Yeah, clearly he's very thin and tall.
Yeah. And so Bo, at the beginning of the movie, the kids are playing on this old like Mustang owned by Hoodie Kid, and he was like, I can park my grandfather's Mustang wherever I want, including the middle of this cornfield for no reason. I'm like, oh, this is how someone's gonna escape at the end of the movie.
Right, exactly.
And
yeah,
that's
stupid car.
And that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Bo manages to make it to the road, but Eden is in the back of the car like any good horror villain would be.
That was one creepy thing she did do, right? And I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
And at some point Bo got doused in
yeah, they're gonna set her on fire, but everyone's being dumb because she's like, oh yeah, the corn dust is like actually everywhere and the whole air will catch fire, stupids. And they're like, oh, okay, never mind then. We'll just cut you up into little bitty pieces.
So when she was trying to escape, she got the gasoline all over the corn. So Eden offers her one final cigarette because I guess Bo used to smoke, even though she's clearly 14.
She's bluffing. She just like is just doing that to do a fire.
Yeah. So she ends up using the cigarette lighter in the car to set the gasoline trail on fire, which she just happens to know where her gasoline trail is.
Also, the fire thing wouldn't be hot anymore because she has it for like a couple minutes, and it would have been cool again.
Yeah. So the corn goes up in flames. Eden gets upset, runs into the fire to try and save He Who Walks, but perishes in the flames.
Yeah. And
The
then it's
children watch
yeah.
in horror, I guess. Well, it turns to horror once I guess the spell breaks when He Who Walks dies.
Yes. And then they're like, oh no, fire. And Eden, our friend, she ran into the fire, so she's dead.
Yeah.
Because she's obsessed with the corn monster.
Yeah. And then the next day, once all the corn has been burned, Bo is sad, surveys the damage, and then burnt up remains Eden comes and is like, nothing really dies in the corn. And then
kills her with her corn stalk tentacles.
Kills her with the cornstalk tentacles.
Slenderman style.
Yeah. And yeah, that was the plot of the movie, and it was not a good movie, but I'm not mad about.
Yeah, but like at the end, so everybody died. Like Luke didn't like the ending because he said he thought that it was stupid that she got killed anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I
hate
agree.
Movies like that.
But that means that like so everybody's dead, but the kids, and then all the corn is burnt. So like what
and their parents are dead. What are they gonna do?
They killed their parents. So what are they gonna do? Go to like kid jail? The Langoliers, is that what you meant?
Yes, the Langoliers.
Yes. I knew it was a weird word that was like Jabberwocky, but I was like, I need to look it up.
Yeah, no, like there's something that were scary in the story itself, but when it got adapted to the screen and you saw what they looked like with cheap effects.
What do they look like? What do the Langoliers look like?
Let me find the Langoliers.
Oh yeah, let me look it up too. Because it was a TV show.
Yeah, it was a mini series.
Of course it was.
Yeah, they were just like these giant, horribly CGI'd mouths that went yap, 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 yap.
Oh my god, I have a picture and it's just a big mouth.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
So that's the vibe I got from actually seeing He Who Walks.
I'd be scared if I saw that mouth floating though. I'd be like,
yeah.
What the fuck is that?
But I don't go into a Children of the Corn movie expecting a good movie, especially one that was in production hell like this was. And I can't really even say it was production hell.
It was COVID.
It was COVID. Principal photography began in New South Wales in April 2020 at the beginning of the COVID pandemic and wrapped that June. The visual effects were produced by Digital Domain, who also executive produced. So the hell portion of this comes from distribution. This movie did have its premiere in 2020. It was supposed to be released theatrically in the fall of 2020, but was pushed back. In 2023, Shudder acquired the distribution rights. The film was released in an 18-day theatrical window starting in March, and then was released on demand March 21st. And like I said, in the mini show, it came out on Shudder on June 30th.
Yeah.
So it's not a great movie, but it's like good bad, like the rest of the Children of the Corn movies. Like if you're a fan of Children of the Corn, you know what you're getting into. And the note I made in regards to doing a good adaptation of Children of the Corn, you have to rely super heavily on finding good child actors.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of good child actors. Yes. But there's also a lot of bad child actors. So there has to be a lot of work that goes into it. And I'm sure it's also difficult with the new newer child labor laws in Hollywood. Children can only work like not even 8-hour days, and they have to be in school or being homeschooled on set. So there's a lot of restrictions involved with working with the children, but I think it's possible to one day do like a good, scary, not cheap adaptation of Children of the Corn.
Yeah, I mean, because if we talk a little bit about, I don't want to compare too much to the original because it was so different, but the original, the children and the town was like very like heavily involved in like religion. Yeah. And so it was like the he who walks behind the rose is like a metaphor for like an unseen deity that you're just like obsessed with like doing sacrifices for and stuff like that because you think it will bring you like, you know, food and like bountiful harvest and whatever. So that's what the original's kind of doing with like a creepy cult vibe. This one was just like children being bad.
Yeah. And I do think showing us he who walks takes away from that element of the unseen deity.
Yes, that's exactly the point. And showing him when that happened, I was like, damn, like there it is. It's just it's a monster and it's there. And so it's not like a collective thought like process. It's just a monster. It's like its own standalone thing that you have to defeat. It's like a problem that you have to solve now.
Yeah.
And once it goes away, that everyone's like broken free of the curse, right? Like you said, that's exactly what happened.
And I think had we not gotten an actual representation of he who walks, the little ending jump scare with Eden coming back would have worked better. Like, had we just burned the cornfields without ever knowing if there really was something in the cornfields telling the children to do this, and then at the end Eden limps over a burned corpse.
Right.
I think that would have played a lot better. It's still very like a very dated movie trope, in my opinion, to have that final jump scare.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Final twist of a jump scare. But yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Here, I'm sending you something in chat. It's like it's an article about like when they wrapped Children of the Corn, but it's cool because they're all in a cornfield. They all have COVID masks on though, and they're doing 6 feet apart. It's actually kind of neat. So good for them for like sticking it out. It just sucks because it didn't like it just didn't like hit right.
Yeah.
And I do blame Corona. They probably had to like rush, or like they probably had to do things so differently than the way they wanted to. I feel like it's a shame, but unfortunately it was good in ways, but mostly it was bad.
Yeah.
But it's like it's probably the fault of like so many different outside variables that they couldn't control, you know what I mean?
Here's a good little snippet of a review from Polygon by Katie Reif. If Children of the Corn were just an empty-headed hybrid of a creature feature and killer kids movie, it might have been kind of fun, but what really brings this movie remake down is the fact that it sets up so many socio-political themes that Wimmer never follows up on, raising the question of whether or not he stumbled onto them by accident.
Right.
And I think that's a very good point, because they did bring up the GMOs. They did bring up herbicides, which are very modern things that we didn't see in the 1984 movie or even Stephen King story, because GMOs weren't as, fear-mongered then as they are now. So like you could have done something with like the GMOs, like the corn is mad about the GMOs.
Right.
Which anybody who says they try to avoid GMOs, ask them if they eat bananas or corn, and they'll shut up real fast.
Right, exactly.
Because corn and bananas are the most genetically modified food that people eat.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Sucks. You can try to cut it out as much as you can, but like unless you grow your own stuff, you can't 100%. But it's cool if you want to grow your own stuff. That's neat.
Yeah.
Do it.
David and I are very excited to own a house and have a garden. I made pickles.
Yeah. I saw that. That's really cool. You gotta let me know the pickle jar. I love pickles.
Yeah, they turned out great so
They're
far.
done. Oh, cool.
Yeah. They took like 24 hours to pickle. We have a lot. We're letting them sit longer because I made the slices a bit too thick, but they're very good. The flavor's there.
Good. Wow.
And I'm going to try and do bread and butter pickles next. There's a ranch pickle recipe I found.
That sounds good.
I'm going to live my best life and start making pickles.
The classic dill pickle. Yeah, you could do a lot with that. You could sell it. You could go to like farm markets and have a little table.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Selling it is harder because I would need to learn how to can. Right now, they're just refrigerator pickles.
Gotcha.
So if I wanted to make them shelf stable, I would need to get a canning system, which I think our friend has a canning pot.
And it kind of like sucks all the air out to make it really vacuum tight to make it air. Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah. Awesome.
Returning to the roots.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
But yeah, there, because in the original, there is some socio-political messaging about cults and blind faith in a deity that may or may not exist. So you could still have that, but I think Kurt Wimmer just wasn't the right writer to bring that to the forefront. It felt like a first draft of a script,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Mhm.
But
Did you also
it,
feel like watching it, there was actually like kind of too much going on? They were like adding in too many different elements.
yeah, like the hint that Eden had been molested, and like that could have been part of the plot on its own, you know? The preacher
Right.
is molesting a child and the crisis of faith, and that's why she goes to the corn and finds religion in
Yeah.
the corn. But
Right.
Eden is not really that deep of a character. We know she likes the Red Queen from
Yeah, but
Alice in Wonderland.
that's it because she stopped liking her after like she stopped wearing the red wig.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, and also in the beginning when they like kill all the kids that are in like the kids home, and like
Hmm.
the adults being alive still, makes it, and like how those parents are like having a bad marriage and the mom is like cheating on the dad and all this shit,
Hmm.
like there's like too much, like stop, it's we
Yeah.
know that everyone's having a bad life. And then when the kid walks home from like in the night to his house, he walks past all the houses and all the parents are yelling at each other in every house he passes. I'm like, guys, just like do the corn. It's like, so I don't need all this drama. I
Hmm.
know the drama is the kids. Oh my gosh. We don't need to give the kids a reason to kill the adults. That's what's supposed to make it scary.
Yeah.
But now they have a reason a little bit, and the reason's not good enough still. And so it makes it kind of like
Hmm.
not very strong. It's kind of a weak circumstance.
Hmm.
I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, it's just a disappointment.
Yeah.
You know, we're coming out of the Stephen King Renaissance where we had
Yeah.
phenomenal remakes and new
We had a lot.
adaptations of It and
Yeah, we had a
um,
lot.
Gerald's Game. We finally got
Yeah.
an adaptation of that, which was phenomenal.
That was wonderful.
Um,
Yeah.
trying to
Great.
think
Great
of
movie. There's a couple more.
yeah, there were so many that came out. Pet Cemetery I thought was overhyped. I wasn't a fan of Pet Cemetery, but even that got a lot of really good reviews. And I don't
There's
know,
the newer. Yeah. Newer
it's just
ones.
this was disappointing in it because I
Mhm.
do think a good Children of the Corn movie would be really good, but this wasn't it. And maybe part of the problem is that it was set in modern day.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that really threw everything off because it wouldn't make sense that like I know there's one cell tower in the whole town, but when you cut the lines for that, and no one has any cell service, so no one's going to go to the next town, and they still act like they're so cut off, but like it
Mhm.
wouldn't be like that anymore.
Yeah, it didn't there didn't seem to be a point to having it set in modern times instead of setting it back in the 80s or 70s.
Yeah, yeah. It makes more sense for it to be way back, whenever it was a bit more isolated because there were no big
Mhm.
communications, and like if you're cut off because you're rural, and that's that. So
Yeah.
like that's what makes it scary because no one will care because that's how it's supposed to be. But in this one, it's all different. It's all changed because it's like you're expected in some places. People will ask after you. People will be around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess getting into production on this,
Yeah.
the CGI wasn't good. The gore was okay.
It was okay when it was
It was
there.
it was very it didn't feel practical. It felt very CGI. And I could get past all of that. The thing I can't get past is the fucking Transformers He Who Walks. Like,
Dude, real quick, whenever you mention, and I forgot to mention this before about like the gore and stuff like that, this movie did have gore, which surprised me because it did like extreme close-ups when there was gore, and then it had the monster. But did you notice that like nobody swore? There was like barely any swear words.
now that you mention it,
And that when I was watching like
that
the first
that
30 minutes, I was like,
I think I remember that because in the mass grave, the when he called her a bitch, that really stood out to me.
yeah, I was like, whoa. And then she says fuck at the end, but it's the only time she says it. And
Hmm.
then the whole movie was so awkward to me because all the young teenagers were not swearing. They're
That's a
saying
really good
damn.
point.
And then the hoodie kid, he said F, like what the F, or like effing, or he like was gonna say fuck, but he said like
Hmm.
he censored himself, and I was like, this is very strange, and kids don't talk like this, so that immediately takes you out of it. So that's why for me, that's another layer of it being like super awkward. Just have them swear, it's rated R, just do it.
Mhm.
But anyway, continue.
Yeah,
So
no, that's a really
sorry.
good point. I didn't really notice that, but that does eliminate some realism if you don't have your rural children swearing up a storm.
Yeah, none of them. So they said like damn, and then like I was like, nobody really says that.
Yeah. Like these kids would absolutely swear. Malachi from the original probably wouldn't. He was a good Christian boy, but none of
That,
these
yeah.
characters were established as good Christian kids.
Yeah, there's
So,
one pastor and nobody went,
yeah.
there was like no church. I
Yeah.
didn't notice one.
So, yeah, that was the big thing is just the CGI just felt cheap, and at the end when we have the fucking
Yeah.
monster, it was weird.
It was weird.
I think that's the big production note. It is impressive that they pulled this out during the
Yeah.
COVID, the early days of the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
um but yeah, it was
Yeah.
overall it was meh, but
Meh.
if you're looking for a cheesy B horror movie, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, it's not bad if you want to see like what they did with it and how it's a little bit different from the original. That definitely check it out, especially if you are a fan of
Yeah.
Stephen King and then the short story and the original and stuff like that. Because the
Yeah.
original, like watching this, the original, I'm sure if I watched it again, there would be more stuff that I would appreciate, despite the fact that it was made in what the 80s or whatever, the
Hmm.
70s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
um yeah, I give it a meh. And
I'd give
that's
it a minute. I
yeah,
agree.
that's all I have this week.
Meh. Yeah, I give it a meh. That's all I have this week. Two, I will be actually this weekend begins my vacation week, which is next
Ooh.
week, Sam. So that
Ooh.
means that I may or may not watch a couple more episodes of the originals. I still have to get my own Netflix to get back on the horse here.
Hmm.
But listen, the originals is really good, and I'm actually looking forward to watching more episodes, which is great for the both of us.
Yeah.
So that's going well, but it might have to wait another extra week, guys. I'm sorry. See, but after that, we'll see what our next movie is going to be. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out. And Sam, you've seen a couple cool stuff in the theaters. Have you seen Barbie/Oppenheimer yet?
That's not out yet.
I thought it was out already.
No, it's out the 21st. I know a lot of
Oh.
people are getting early screenings. I have tickets for Barbie. I don't have tickets for Oppenheimer yet because the RPX showings after Thursday have disappeared. So
Oh,
I'm hoping those come back because like I'll go see it regardless, but like I
you want to
want the
see it?
RPX experience.
Yeah, you want that big time experience because it's a movie about a nuclear bomb. So if they
Yeah.
do the bomb,
Yeah.
no, not mean to laugh, but I was talking to Luke and I was like, "Do you want to see Oppenheimer?" And he said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, well, what's gonna happen?" Because like they don't do the bomb. I don't. And now he was like, "Yeah, they do." And I was like, "Well, where do they do it?" And he said, "Like in the desert or something." I was like, "Oh, okay." So
Yeah.
they'll do it in the desert, and then will be the end. I'm
I
not
kind
trying like I'm not trying to disregard the movie, but I'm just having a laugh about like what are they gonna do if there wasn't like anything other than the test, just to get to know the man himself.
yeah, there was a lot behind the scenes in building the
Cool.
atomic bomb. I guess
Yeah.
talking to my friends about it at dinner last night, he
Mhm.
said one of the biggest problems that arose with keeping the whole Manhattan Project a secret was the babies that were born during the
Oh.
Manhattan Project because you had a bunch of scientists secluded in the desert for
Oh.
months, if not
Yeah.
years. So some
Mhm.
babies resulted from that.
Really? Just like
Yeah.
between the scientists?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So were these scientists like not married?
No, they were just scientists who got horned up
Got it. Okay. And
and
they just had babies.
yeah. And it was actually, according to my other friend, it was Kodak Film that figured out
Mhm.
nuclear testing was going on in the desert because all of their pictures were coming back with like nuclear radiation residue. And
Dang.
so they started asking questions. So the government had to send out people to
Like
keep
a
them
notice.
quiet.
Yeah, like a notice. Like,
Yeah.
hey. Well, cool. I mean, it seems cool. I love Killian slash Cillian Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure which one is the right pronunciation, but is this a Christopher Nolan movie too?
It is.
Nice. Oh yeah. I'm becoming more of a fan of his because I'm having more of an appreciation of how he likes to make his movies. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, sorry, I thought Oppenheimer was out. I'm getting
Yeah.
confused here because it keeps stuff, but I'm like, oh, it's out.
It's just Barbie and Oppenheimer are the two biggest releases this summer, and they happen to be coming out on the same day.
Yeah, that's so
And
funny.
like I said, if you only want to see Barbie, that's fine. And if you only want to see Oppenheimer, that's fine. I just
Yeah.
don't want to be your friend because they're both going to be great movies.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like there's a star-studded cast. So
Yeah.
if I will see anything, I may see this. I might go to the drive-in, but I feel like that's too far away from like the screen to
Mm-hmm.
see it. You know what I mean? I don't know what's
Yeah.
probably the best way to see it is in theaters,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, I wish I had thought about it sooner and made more of a
Yeah.
plan, because the best way to see it, probably, and it's sold out, is maybe we could go the following weekend, is the IMAX in the Air and Space Museum at Dulles, because
Yeah,
the
got
the
IMAX too. Yeah.
the plane that dropped the atomic bomb is in that museum. So
Really?
yeah. So seeing it in next to the plane that dropped the
Whoa.
bomb would be so cool.
That's
And
amazing.
most true IMAX theaters are in museums. So if you're in a big museum, if you're in a big town with a museum, check and see if it has an IMAX showing of it.
I have an IMAX in Pittsburgh and in our Carnegie Science Center.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just looked, I'm gonna look at IMAX Carnegie Science Center, and you know what? They're probably not. Oh, it's called Rango's Giant Cinema, which is like an IMAX. But they're freaking doing it. They're doing the Polar Bear movie, the Incredible Predators movie, and the Lost Empire of Cambodia movies. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like those kind of things. Sometimes they'll do big movies. I actually saw The Shining in the Rango's Giant Cinema IMAX, which is kick-ass. But I miss seeing Titanic in it, but I saw Titanic. I would never forgive myself for that, but it looks like it's not playing in is there an IMAX theater near me?
Anyway, we should wrap this up.
Yeah, anyway, sorry guys, just like going on, about
big movie releases.
Yeah, big movie releases, you guys. So anyway, enjoy your next week. Keep up with us by watching the originals. Definitely check out Children of the Corn if you want to on Shudder. And support Shudder. I think actually having it is really cool, and I'm excited to share it with Sam. That'll be ours forever. And I'll support you with some donations via Venmo.
Yeah.
We'll be able to keep going. So that's really cool. Okay. But if we're ready to wrap up, I'll go ahead with the outro notes.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So guys, I'm sorry I didn't fix the outro notes yet. So just go with it. Okay, just stay with me. Real Horror Show was created by Sam Odie and Stormy Skies and is directed by Sam Odie. Today, we learned that you should not laugh at the children at the town hall meeting because they might kill snap. You. They might bury you alive. What we also learned is that you should not just do nothing to try to save your own life. Okay? Like, I know it's your kid, but just try to not die. Okay. That we learned that. All right. Like what you hear, you can find Real Horror Show on Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play Store. Did you say Stitcher is no longer a thing? I can delete that.
Stitcher is no longer a thing. R.I.P.
Rest in peace, Stitcher. Okay, but iTunes and Pandora, hello, are still things. Really, really like what you hear. Follow us on. Do you want to follow us on Twitter? I mean, like, you can if you want to. Question mark there.
Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Threads. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok.
Insta.
We're everywhere.
TikTok, literally everywhere. Or search for Real Horror Show on Facebook if you want to. We have that too. Is Facebook like still cool?
I mean,
it's been on it for years.
It's not cool, but we're on there, and I am better at posting our new episodes to Facebook.
Sweet. Okay, so we're there. Facebook is tied to Instagram and Threads at this time. So you want to keep it all in the family, you can find us there first. You can also look at our website, realhorrorshow.com. That's where we have written reviews, podcast episodes, the whole shebang. Cool. Do you want to interact with us? Do you want to make sure we're real humans, not space vampires? Well, you can comment on our website, or you can email us, because we have an email address too, at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. We love horror, and if you're listening, you do too. Please help us keep our project going by visiting our support page on our website, where you can make a one-time donation via PayPal. We also have an Amazon wish list. If you feel like buying us something tangible will help convey your love more than a monetary donation would. Also, you can find the Buy Us a Coffee button on our website. It's a button you can click that will pay us the amount you would need to buy a coffee. A little bit goes a long way. And listen, guys, I've been drinking a lot more coffee than usual lately, so definitely consider that if you are able. Sometimes we can't help we can't help out artists monetarily, and that's okay. You don't have to buy us a coffee. By simply liking, sharing, retweeting, and even giving us an awesome review will help us out tremendously, and it will help people find our show. And is there any other pertinent news other than Barbenheimer?
It's Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer!
No, I don't think there is.
Cool. I'll be away the next week, so tune in 2 weeks for our next episode. Our outro song is called A Creepy Doll by Jonathan Colton. Thank you, fuck off, and have a swell evening. And this is Real Horror Show signing off. Bye. Bye.